howdy little blooders, I'm Bill Bauer.
And I'm William Strife.
And this is what we gotta say about the Xbox One
and the PlayStation 4
from E3 2013.
Okay, so yes, hello everyone, I am William Strife, and this is the Heads Up Podcast, the special edition for 2013 E3, and I'm joined this time around by Bill Bauer. How are you, Bill?
Just fucking peachy, Will. I got a lot of things to say about that fucking Microsoft.
Well, I bet you do, Bill. That's half of the reason why I'm with you. We want to limit your vocabulary to something that's not a four-letter word.
Yeah, go fucking look at that.
Right, so, to start things off, this entire podcast is about the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One, and basically I guess we'll start off with the facts and what we completely know. So, I suppose we should start with the Xbox One. Bill, you want to cover the facts? We got a list here. Things that are absolutely proven, nothing that's, misconstrued.
You sure you want me to do that? I'll launch into a fucking rant and rave if you let me.
Well, you were here for a good reason, and you've been wanting to scream about the Xbox for 2 weeks now?
Yeah, I think it's been about that long.
So I think it's only appropriate that you get to go off on the list.
Well, alright everyone, Microsoft's officially announced their fucking console, the Xbox One, or what I like to call the X-Bone, because if you buy it, you're boned. Simple as that. So, like Will said, let's run down the list of facts that we already know. First off, it looks like a boxy VCR from the early 90s. I mean, don't get me wrong, consoles don't have to be pretty the way that they're designed. They're just gonna sit under your fucking TV. But it looks horrible. It looks like a fucking plastic brick. No curves, completely angular. It looks just like the original VCR that my parents had. Point 2. It comes with a Kinect 2.0, which it needs to function. I don't know about you guys, but that Kinect, it fucking weirds me out. It watches you all the time. It's a whole lot more advanced. It has to be on. It doesn't actually ever turn off. It's like Microsoft is put surveillance in your goddamn home. Next point. It has a tiny 500GB hard disk drive that can't be upgraded or removed. Now, I know that this doesn't fucking matter for a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is that a 500GB hard drive is fucking tiny whenever you have to install your goddamn games. Which points to the next point. Games have to be installed to the hard drive and then linked to your account, meaning that you have to pay for the game again if you want to play it on another account. Now, Microsoft has been fairly clear that you can share the game with up to, I think 5 people on the same system, which is kind of pointless in my opinion. But the real big point here is that the game links to your system, and how exactly do you get around that? Well, you can't because of the next big fucking point. The console has to connect to Microsoft servers once every 24 hours, or it stops playing games entirely. I don't know about you guys, but that's just fucking a deal breaker for me, the fact that my game console won't work if it doesn't have an opportunity to phone home to mommy. Fucking ridiculous. Whatever happened to homebrew? I mean, yeah, console developers don't exactly like the idea of other people in their home getting their hands into the guts of the system and rewriting shit, but that's a right that you get by purchasing the goddamn hardware. And then of course you can't forget that the damn thing shoves television, sports and films in your face every single time you fucking boot it up. It's not like I bought a console to play games, god no. And another thing about the games, there's no backwards compatibility for 360 or the live arcade titles, which doesn't make any fucking sense. No point whatsoever. I mean, don't get me wrong, you buy a next-gen console to go ahead and play new next-generation games, but backwards compatibility on day one and for the first 8 months after that are pretty goddamn important to me because I don't have the fucking money to go out and buy a new console, keep my old one, because let's fucking face it, at a $500 price tag, that's a lot of money for me to drop, and being able to trade in towards that is really fucking important to me. So the ability to keep my old game library and keep playing that as new games for the system come out during the dry spell, which always happens with all consoles. I mean, God forbid that the Wii U actually gets a new game. There's still almost diddly shit out for that, and it's been out for going on 6 months now. For fuck's sake. Oh. And the last thing that I want to point out is that their new Xbox controller has the Nintendo D-pad on it. I want to find out whether or not they actually paid the rights to Nintendo for that D-pad. And that's the end of the list. I'm going to stop right there, because otherwise I'm going to launch into a rant. And take it away, Will, PS4.
Right. Thanks, Bill. So, PlayStation 4. Pretty much everything on it is predictable, I suppose you could say. Running down the list, there's, first of all, no backwards compatibility, but that's kind of to be expected because of the major change in processing architecture inside of the system. Not exactly something positive, but at the same time, that was unavoidable. Absolutely unavoidable. And I think that whenever it came to the Xbox, they definitely could have implemented backwards compatibility. But I think that what they want to do with the Xbox is try to sell you your 360 games again for the Xbox One.
Don't even fucking get me started, mate.
All right, so the next thing about PlayStation 4, online play will now cost a subscription fee. I think that this is something that not everybody is too surprised about, though at the same time I can imagine a lot of people would be upset about the fact that a free online play option has switched to a pay online play option. I know that if there's any compelling reason for me to play online games, I'll probably pay for the PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus, whatever they're going to call it, at $5 a month or so. What do you think, Bill?
Probably. I'm not that big of an online gamer, but whenever I do get on, I love to fucking scream at people. I mean, if I ever have a fucking bad day, that's where I go to just let out my tension. Go online, shoot people, and yell at them at the same time. Yeah, it's not exactly productive or constructive or anything, but at the same time, fuck if I care, that's what I'm there for at the end of the day. Let off some steam and hurt other people.
You are malicious. You know that?
Yeah, and you're the one sitting next to me, so watch what you say.
Yeah, okay. Next thing. No restrictions on sharing and trading games. Now, this actually wouldn't have been a point for the PlayStation 4, was it not for what Microsoft and the Xbox are pushing. But they made a point of this in their keynote, in their press conference, during E3. They actually, stepped forward and said, hey, we support the model that we have now, the ability to purchase a game on disc and then sell that disc because you own it and you can share it with your friends. We're not going to restrict that. The publishers, they can try and implement online passes and whatnot if they choose to, but we're not going to try and enable people to prevent the trading and sharing of disc-based games, which, I don't think I've ever heard such a huge response from from a crowd of reporters in my life whenever they announced all of that during their press conference.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're saying there, man. I could not fucking believe the way that room lit up. It was like a fucking Christmas tree or a Bon Jovi concert. I don't fucking know what to call it, but Jesus Christ, the way that people cheered whenever they announced their stance on the used game market, I couldn't fucking believe it. Especially considering the fact that the entire goddamn room was filled full of reporters.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The whole entire deal, that here's a room full of professionals and they are screaming and cheering to an unbelievable extent over the fact that Sony is not against the used game market. I mean, I was amazed. But the next thing is the PlayStation 4 has no region lock. And that basically means that you can buy a game from another country and still play it on your console. There's no restrictions on whether or not a game from Japan or a game from Europe will work on an American console. And the same thing works for if you get a game in Europe and you can play it on a console from Japan, or, a game from America and play it in Europe, etc. It works across the board. There's no region locking, so that's a really positive thing, and I think that's more of a result of the fact that Sony is making no attempt to control the distribution and resale of game discs. So that's definitely a positive thing, and of course, the most important point of all of them for the PlayStation 4, well, actually, it might be second after the fact that there are no restrictions on reselling and trading games, the PlayStation 4 is going to cost $400, and that's $100 less than the Xbox.
Oh yeah, the fucking $100 difference. I can't even get. I really don't know what to say. I'm at a complete loss for words that aren't only composed of 4 letters. Microsoft is so goddamn screwed with that difference in price and that major difference in service quality. The fact that one console is gonna strap you down and make you jump through hoops just to play your games properly, and the other one is like, yeah, we're cheaper and we also don't breathe down your neck to make sure you're not doing shit wrong. So I mean, I think it's a done deal at this point, even for fucking Joe Blow out in the middle of nowhere who doesn't even keep track of the game news. He's gonna find out really fucking fast after he buys a $500 console that he needs to check in once every 24 hours for the goddamn thing to work. That's really the sticking point for me.
You're completely right on that fact, Bill. It's the fact that you absolutely can't force people to connect to online. I think, I don't remember what the statistics were, but I vaguely remember hearing a report coming from their Microsoft sales division about the fact that the Xbox 360, I think it was somewhere between 20 and 30% of the consoles they had sold never went online. So, that's a lot of profit for Microsoft to make, and then for them not to be able to sell those people on the the virtual sales and DLC and whatnot. That is that's huge. I mean, the fact that they're not getting extra sales off of those people is secondary to the fact that that's a lot of consoles to sell, and to completely nix those people and just completely remove them and take them out of the picture just because they either choose not to go online or can't go online. That is detrimental to that will be detrimental to Microsoft's sales numbers.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Microsoft does not realize that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to buy this console thinking that it's going to be great, who haven't heard the news about the fucking bullshit gotta connect to the servers deal, and they're going to get that goddamn box home, they're going to put it down in front of the TV, and then they're going to find out within a day's time, at the least, oh, I'll have to connect to the servers, and I, for one reason or another, don't want to or can't. As soon as that happens, they're gonna fucking pick the goddamn thing up and they're either gonna smash it, which, given some of the people that I've met, yeah, they are completely likely to do that. And the rest of them, they're just gonna pick it up, jam it back in the box and fucking return it. And that's gonna be horrible for their sales numbers, and they've basically put the nail in their own goddamn coffin. I can't believe how stupid they are.
I think it's funny to see the complete regression of Microsoft from, capturing the market and controlling things and being top dog, and just completely sliding into, we don't know what is actually going on, we're going to do our own thing. In much the same way that I think the Sony and Nintendo experienced this, back whenever they were top dogs on the pile and everything.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That happened back in the 90s whenever Nintendo lost the market to Sony whenever they stole it with their PlayStation. And then it happened to Sony whenever they went into the generation of the PlayStation 3 from the PlayStation 2. It seems to be a trend where a company gets on top of everything in the video game industry and is the complete and total undisputed victor for the specific generation. And then what happens is they just kind of seem to fucking forget. I don't know how it happens. They get instantaneous amnesia. They walk around for so long thinking that the shit doesn't stink that they completely forget the fact that you still have to earn your customers' loyalty. And what happens is they go into the next generation thinking, oh, well, we're fucking top of the game. People are still gonna back us no matter fucking what. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna make the system that we want to make, not the system that's gonna serve the consumer, which is exactly what you're supposed to fucking do. And as a result, they end up making a console that people don't want, or don't care about, or there's something fucking wrong with it. And what happens? Oh, lo and behold, you're not top dog. Just because you have a bunch of fucking cash from this generation, it doesn't mean that the next generation is guaranteed to you.
I think that ties into a larger problem with business in general. The idea that businesses are established to make money. That's not true. Businesses are established to offer a service. And it's the businesses that are established to, quote, make money that tend to have, really a hard time staying afloat, or they're attacked relentlessly by other means. They're more susceptible to downfall because they're not offering a service. They're there to exploit people. And plain and simple, people don't like being exploited. So with Microsoft and the Xbox One, clearly what their intention is to, enhance control. Their interest is not serving the consumer. And, that's a horrible business decision because the money occurs as a result of good business. Good business does not occur as a result of money. It's actually the exact opposite. Too much money equals bad business because people start to get greedy. And I think that's really what we're seeing right here. It's the fact that Microsoft has gotten so focused on either an ideal of serving the publisher or making more money or something along those lines that they've completely forgotten that their first and foremost interest is to serve the consumer in a proper manner. And actually, there's a recent report that came out from let me read it here. Phil Spencer, corporate VP of Microsoft Studios. He responded to the Xbox One backlash and said, quote, "Even now, I would say this isn't a sprint." He claims that the Xbox One, it's a long-term effort, and the horribly negative reaction that people are having right now isn't going to count, because what really matters is what's going to happen when the console is released. And to which I say, he's just trying to put a really nice... He's trying to polish shit at this point, I think.
Hold on there, mate. It's not your job to swear. That's my department. But you're right, he is trying to fucking polish shit. The fact of the matter is that people aren't happy. They know that people aren't happy, and they're going to continue on with their fucking plan, despite the fact that they're going to have a very difficult time, and if nothing else, a fucking uphill battle. And like you said, I agree, Microsoft is completely out of touch with what they are there to do, and that's serve the consumer something that they want and enjoy, and then to capitalize on it. Not to try and capitalize on people just because they can. That's completely backwards. And the problem here is that they are still so fucking full of themselves, they can't accept the fact that they've completely fumbled this, they've dropped the ball on it, and there's no going back. And now, all they're trying to do is put a nice coat of gloss over the pile of fecal matter that's all over the place in an effort to say, things are not as bad as they seem, and the reactions are far exaggerated from how things will actually turn out. In which case I can say, well, yeah, that's partly true, because look at the PlayStation 3. It was ridiculously expensive and hard to program for, and it languished for years on end, but it still sold somewhat okay from a consumer perspective. But at the same time, Microsoft is trying to trick themselves and other people into thinking, no, we're still going to be top dog. No, you're fucking not going to be, alright? This initial reaction is very, very important. And E3 is not so much for the gaming press as it is for the general public, where they're going to be telling all the big important stuff to, like the New York Times, the Daily Telegraph, BBC News, whatever have you. They are pushing that news out to the big news corporations that don't cover video games on a daily basis. And this reaction from E3 to Microsoft and the Xbox One is very, very indicative of how things are going to fucking work out for them whenever the console finally comes out.
Absolutely. So, I think we should take a step further. Don't want to spend the entire episode talking about the Xbox versus PlayStation, because, be quite honest, I mean, let's face it, Bill, there's no question. Everybody's saying the same thing. Sony completely won. They, like I said on my Twitter, they delivered a nut shot to Microsoft during their press conference. They just completely obliterated. They destroyed them.
Oh yeah, they completely destroyed them. I can't believe the way that they were up on stage and they basically said, hey diddly-do, look at Microsoft over there doing something fucking stupid. Now look at us. we're better. We're better, and you love us more. Look at this. We've got what you want, and we don't fucking... just the way that they played to the audience in that press conference, and without directly making the statement, this is what Microsoft's doing, this is what we're doing, and it's better.
Yeah, and the fact that what they did right after that, I think they went from just, taking shots at them and making direct references to just straight up. And I mean, they were basically curb stomping Microsoft after the conference with that ad that they made, which was how to share your games on the PlayStation 4, where the... I don't remember his name, but the man responsible for the development of the PlayStation 4, he just stands on camera, and he has the game, and he just hands it to a friend, and it's like, there we go. That just completely blew my mind, and I was just, wow, they have chosen to completely flip the bird to Microsoft right there.
I gotta say, I don't think I've ever fucking laughed so hard in my life whenever I saw that video. I fucking fell out of my goddamn chair. I was laughing so hard from the way that it worked out. I was just like, oh my god. Fucking shit, this is so goddamn funny. Because it's the closest thing you're ever gonna get to one large corporation actually saying, Microsoft, you suck, and actually delivering a punch straight to their face. Because, that's one thing that you never see companies really do. Directly state another company and say they suck. Because if you do that, then they can, go ahead and sue you for libel or slander or whatever have you, depending on whether or not it's written or spoken. The point is, oh my god, it's so... You don't see it very often, and it's so close, so unbelievably close, and so perfectly timed that I couldn't believe it. I laughed so fucking hard.
Yeah, I think that Sony's performance this year is going to just go down in history for just how they completely blew Microsoft out of the water. So I want to move on now. Don't want to make this podcast too long. I think that we should cover, we each have a list of games that were either shown at E3 or the games are coming out. Maybe they weren't shown at E3, but upcoming games basically that we are very much so looking forward to. And guess I'll start with mine. The first is the first of the games is Pikmin 3. The Pikmin series I love. I just love the Pikmin series. I like the strategy form of its gameplay. I had a whole lot of fun with the first two on the GameCube, and moreover, Pikmin itself, that's like a major title that I've been waiting for on the Wii U, and I basically don't have anything on the Wii U to play right now because not a lot has come out on it.
Yeah, well, keep waiting. Not a whole lot of anything coming out of Nintendo for the Wii anytime soon.
Thank you, Bill, so much for the encouragement and moral support for the hard, dry times on the Wii U.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, mate.
Okay, so the next game on my list is Mirror's Edge 2. Not a whole lot is known about Mirror's Edge 2 right now. To be quite honest, I'm absolutely amazed by the fact that they're going to do a sequel, because the original, it was interesting, but, it had a lot of problems in the way that it worked, and the fact that playing a platforming game from a first-person perspective isn't easy, but at the same time, just it's got my attention just for how different and unorthodox it is. Innovation, in my opinion, is something worth, taking a chance on. So if someone or some group chooses to innovate a game, Mirror's Edge is a very good example of performing innovation on a game in a very large way, and, seeing whether or not it works out. And I really like whenever companies do that, and I can get behind it. But I don't know if it'll be any good, but I'm very interested to see how it turns out. Next up is Thief. Thief is a game that I've been looking forward to for the specific reason that it's a series that I never really got to play whenever I was younger, whenever the games were new, and nowadays games come out so fast and I'm so busy that I don't have time to go back and play some of the classics that I really wish I could. That and the fact that the latest Thief game that's out right now, Deadly Shadows, doesn't actually work on my PC because of the way that the game is programmed. If you don't have a single core processor, which is, an extremely ancient piece of hardware to find in a PC nowadays, you just can't run the game, I've found. So that's really disappointing for me. But I'm very interested to see to play the Thief game because I enjoy being a thief in games and role playing games. I prefer to be the thief. I don't want to be an assassin. I find it much more satisfying to play the role of, get in, get out, don't kill anyone while you're there, and just steal as much loot as you can. So that's extremely fun for me. The next game is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. This is a title that caught my eye as soon as they brought it up a few months ago, I think. I mean, Wind Waker, fantastic game. It was really controversial whenever it first popped up for its art style, but I am so looking forward to the HD remake because it was such a good game, and I would love to get a good excuse to play through it again because I try to keep myself away from the original whenever they announce a remake, because then if I play through the original when the remake actually comes out, I'm like, oh, well, I just played the original a week or two ago. I'm not going to bother picking that up or anything, and it's a missed opportunity. So I'm looking forward to the Wind Waker HD, even though it's a game that I've played through and I know what's coming whenever I play it. But the big game, the most important game to me that they announced during E3 this year is The Order 1866, and the big reason for that is it's steampunkish. I don't know how steampunkish it's going to be, and granted, they haven't shown any actual gameplay footage. All they've done is a pre-rendered teaser, so I know, what was it pre-rendered? I think in the trailer it said it was generated in real time.
Yeah, I think they did say that it was real time in the trailer.
Yeah, okay. So it's got my attention. It looks really, really awesome, really, really interesting, because I love steampunk-styled stuff. It's no secret that I love the Fallout games, and those are kind of like a combination between... Fallout kind of feels like diesel punk crossed with cyberpunk, because, it goes with that... I guess you could more call it atomic punk, because it goes with a 1950s aesthetic of, vacuum tubes and nuclear power, and, you've got like fusion batteries and crap like that, which flat out those don't really exist in other type of punk genres of science fiction. But I love diesel punk, and I love diesel punk. I love steampunk. I basically love all the punks across the board. The Order 1866 looks like it's going to be that type of, style and aesthetic. Granted, hopefully the actual gameplay lives up to what I'm hoping for, as, it'll be a good game, whether it be a third or a first-person shooter in which you're killing demons or, God knows what. But it's definitely got my attention. So the Order 1866 is my number one game in the whole of E3 this year that's got my attention, that I'm very, very interested in. What about you, Bill? What's your list?
Well, for me, the first game out of all the titles that I've seen at E3 this year is Infamous Second Son for the PS4, because I loved the first and the second Infamous, and it's basically more of that. If I can get more of Infamous 1 and 2, I'll be happy, just flat out right there. Hopefully they've done some innovations, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about the new Infamous game, because, to be quite honest, I haven't looked that deep into it, but I do know that I love the first and the second one, and Second Son. Hopefully it's exactly what I'm looking for. So, the whole process of gaining powers, changing and evolving, basically based on your experience and becoming a more incredible superhero or supervillain, or however you want to put it. The next game up the tree is Killzone Shadowfall. Now, I'm kind of, here and there on it, because the last Killzone 3 was supposed to be the end of the series. It was supposed to be, but obviously they weren't going to stop something that was working so well, so I'm not too surprised that they're doing a new Killzone. But it looks like a fantastic shooter. I'm really looking forward to it, for the fact that I've always liked the Killzone games, just for how well fucking done they are and how good they look. The Killzone games have a bit of a problem whenever it comes to pacing and storytelling, and that's a problem. That's a grievance of mine against the series, but at the same time, I'm not really going into it looking for a fantastic story. I'm going into it to play a shooter that looks fucking awesome. And that's where it's at for me for Killzone Shadowfall. And from what they showed at E3 during the PlayStation press conference, I saw a game that I wanted to buy, and the fact that they're advertising it as a launch title is even more important to me, because now Killzone has an opportunity to establish itself as a must-have title for just PlayStation owners in general, because it's those first titles that people tend to latch onto really, really well. The next game up the tree is Watch Dogs. Now, Watch Dogs, this is a game that's been on my list for a while, and I've been looking forward to it for a long time. The only reason why it's not at the top of the list is because it's not a brand new title that I know that's coming out. But regardless, Watch Dogs, very high up my list. We already know what it's all about, being able to run around, the city of Chicago, and just basically hack anything that you can to get shit done. Run away from the cops. It's kind of like a really high-tech version of Grand Theft Auto, which is exactly what I fucking want. And next up, one of the most goddamn important games on the list. Dark Souls 2. I am so looking forward to this game because I loved the original Dark Souls in the way that it just fucking kicked your goddamn ass at everything. It showed you that you're not a gamer if you can't fucking deal with difficulty, and that's really what the Souls series is all about, is the fact that you suck, alright? You can't just roll over things. You have to fucking strategize, you have to practice, you have to know your fucking shit to get from point A to point B and not die. And there are so many things that can get in the way. So I am so looking forward to that. I am absolutely craving some additional Dark Souls fun. I am absolutely on board for it, and you know what, to be quite honest, Will, we should get together and we should play through Dark Souls. Yeah, what's wrong? Don't tell me you're a fucking pussy who can't handle Dark Souls.
Bill, don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't like Dark Souls, it's just that it's because it's so difficult and it eats up so much of my time that I have a problem with playing it. I don't like games that I start out with them knowing that they're going to kick my ass. I like learning that the game is going to kick my ass as I play and then make the choice as I'm playing to beat the game because I don't want the game to beat me. But I'm completely turned off of actually starting a game like that up whenever I go into it.
Oh, don't be like that, mate. We need to be brothers in arms. Go through those dark, turbulent times in God knows wherever it is. I never really paid much attention to the story, but, it's just slaying demons and slaughtering them. And the game is really built around single player, and whenever you put in a second person, it's amazing how it changes things and makes it so much more enjoyable.
Oh, okay, Bill, we'll see how that works out. It's obvious that it's a game that you're very, very interested in. Maybe I'll play it with you when it comes out. What is the release for it anyway? Do they have a date or a window?
I think it's sometime early 2014, March, maybe. I can't quite remember.
Right. Well, what's the next game on your list? Your top.
Oh, my top. Well, this is a game that I really, really look forward to, and it's because it's extremely reliant on multiplayer. It's the game Destiny. It's the new first-person shooter from Bungie for the PlayStation 4, and I am so looking forward to it. It's like a first-person shooter, but with Diablo mechanics. It's kind of like Borderlands in the fact that you can find really awesome weapons as you're running around, and you can join other people and you can play these games. At this point, I don't actually even know if it's a single player or a multiplayer game like an MMO, or if it's kind of like Borderlands where the whole thing can be played single player, but it's intended that you play with other people, and whether or not you connect with them is another story. But that's where it's at for me. It's the fact that it's a big world, you can explore it, it's atmospheric, it's deep, there are random events that occur, there are tons of guns and loot that you can pick up. It's the whole process of perpetuating. You try to level up so you can get better guns, and you use those better guns to get more levels to level up so you can get better guns, and etc. And that's a horribly redundant process, but it doesn't mean that it ain't fun. And that's really what I'm after. It's the fact that multiplayer experience, and for the first time I'm gonna get it without, those really cartoonish graphics from Borderlands, which, there's nothing wrong with those graphics, but at the same time, it's nice to see a game implement the same system, but have a more realistic aesthetic.
Alright, so there it is for you. My top 5 out of E3 this year are Pikmin 3, Mirror's Edge 2, Thief, Wind Waker HD, and The Order 1866. Hopefully I'll see most of those games sooner rather than later. And Bill, your list is?
It's Infamous Second Son, Killzone Shadowfall, Watch Dogs, Dark Souls 2, and Destiny, in that order, bottom to top.
Okay, well, that's all that we're going to say this time around. I hope you enjoyed our discussion over the Xbox and the PlayStation 4, as well as our top 5 lists for what we want that is coming out soon. Most of the stuff is from E3. But I'm William Strife.
And I'm Bill Bauer.
And this has been the Heads Up Podcast for
E3 2014.
And I'll see you later.
Bye.